Good afternoon and welcome to TVM-News. Today is Friday, October 6th. I'm Brooke Williams.
And I'm Hannah Weaver. This week we'll bring you the latest on the threat to campus Wednesday, an update on the Las Vegas shooting, and more. Marywood-University is breathing a little easier after a student brandishing a gun was arrested on campus Wednesday. Zukowski reportedly showed a student a loaded handgun. Dunmore and Scranton police responded and found an assault rifle, body armor, and about 200 rounds of ammunition after searching Borowski's truck. Dunmore police charged him with terroristic threats, simple assault, possessing unlawful body armor, and reckless endangerment. Borowski reportedly showed a student a loaded handgun on Marywood campus. No shots were fired during the incident, and no one was hurt.
How did students and Marywood President Sister Mary Persico respond to Wednesday's incident? TVM's Brianna Ryan has the story.
I'm actually kind of really shocked. I never thought this would happen here.
An armed student on campus left the community questioning their safety on Wednesday.
Now I'm definitely a little more aware of things, a little more aware of my safety and aware of where I am at times during the day.
Marywood is now facing backlash over its response to the situation. University officials sent an E2 campus notification to subscribers after the armed student was apprehended, stating that, quote, "The situation on campus has been successfully resolved," end quote. No notification was sent prior to the resolution of the incident. Marywood released a statement on social media explaining that no notification was initially sent because of the, quote, "immediacy of dealing with the situation," end quote. Members of the community have taken to social media to criticize the university for its communication during the incident. TVM News spoke to students about their reactions.
So I think it was handled properly, and I also like how there was counseling afterwards for the people that were in the building, so that was very nice.
I know that it was resolved quickly, and that's awesome and great for the responders that came and campus security, but I was disappointed that they didn't send out an E2 campus text.
For TVM News, I'm Brianna Ryan.
Marywood has a new director of dining services. Mark Delvin will be stepping in to replace John Barzensky, who resigned last Friday. Barzensky and Delvin have been working closely together to ensure a smooth transition. Delvin's first day on the job was last Saturday.
The Woodward is investigating recent resignations of 3 senior employees. Former Chief Information Officer Tony Spinello, former Associate Vice President for Marketing and Communications Peter Kilcullen, and former Director of Alumni Engagement Ann Williams all resigned last summer. An anonymous letter sent to the Woodward and public social media comments both suggested Spinello's resignation may have been demanded by the administration. That prompted the Woodward's investigation. An employee of Marywood's IT department and a Marywood employee with knowledge of the situation both said the administration fired Spinello. These sources ask not to be named for fear of jeopardizing their employment. Vice President of Business Affairs Tammy McHale maintains that Spinello was not fired. She said his departure was a resignation mutually agreed upon by her and Spinello.
Classes are still being disrupted by damage to the Suraci Gallery. TVM's Brianna Ryan has more.
Marywood's Suraci Gallery is still recovering after broken pipes caused water to bust through the ceiling last weekend. As a result of the incident, some locations in the general gallery area are being blocked off by plastic for the time being. Some classes in the Shield Center had to be relocated to other areas on campus, while students in classes that still remain in the center must take alternative entryways to go to class. Gallery Director Marguerite Fuller said, "We are currently in the process of gathering more information on how we can move forward to repair the damages made to the gallery." The Suraci Gallery will remain closed until further notice. For TVM News, I'm Brianna Ryan.
The Marywood community now has a better understanding of their First Amendment rights thanks to a Talk of the University presentation this week, co-sponsored by the Society for Collegiate Journalists and the Pacers for Justice and Peace. SCJ President Brooke Williams joined the Director of Broadcast Journalism, Dr. Lindsay Botanis, and Social Sciences Professor, Dr. Adam Spritzen, to talk about the history of a free press, fake news, and how to become an informed news consumer. The panel also outlined the other rights granted by the First Amendment and tested the audience's awareness about that amendment through an online poll.
Marywood Admissions has a new plan to increase enrollment by looking through the lens of the student. Shifting demographics and the need to stand out among colleges prompted Senior Director of Admissions Christian DiGregorio to form an enrollment task force. The task force is identifying what students want in a college, as well as what makes the Marywood experience unique. They are also working on international student recruitment. This long-term plan will take Marywood through 2021.
Marywood celebrates the anniversary of a classic play this weekend with the production of A Streetcar Named Desire.
The Marywood Players presented A Streetcar Named Desire on the weekend of October 6th to honor the 70th anniversary of Tennessee Williams' classic play. Members of the Marywood community had the chance to watch the production in the Set La Vergetta Center for Performing Arts. The American drama focuses on the life story of Blanche Dubois, who is searching for kindness and beauty in post-World War II New Orleans. Lead actor Kenny Doyle, who performed the role of Stanley Kowalski, shares the importance of seeing this production and how it is still impactful today.
Every once in a while, because of some of the subject matters that are in it, it deals with a little bit of alcohol abuse, lying, domestic violence, a little bit of mental illness, and these are things that are still relevant to today.
Melina Berry, who played Blanche Dubois, emphasized that even though the show is not fun and lighthearted, it is definitely something that everyone should see.
This show isn't the easiest to watch. It has moments of lightness and humor, but it's a very psychologically taxing play because she slowly goes crazy, and throughout the show the lighting changes, the music changes. There's a lesson to be learned in all of it.
For TVM-News, I'm Stephanie O'Malley.
The African Sisters Education Collaborative is accepting applications for a service learning trip to Nairobi, Kenya in the spring 2018 semester. During this 19-day trip, students will have the opportunity to volunteer with at-risk youth, refugees, HIV and AIDS patients, disabled orphans, school children, and hospital patients. Trip organizer Sister Margaret Gannon, IHM, said these diverse opportunities make the trip unique and that students who volunteer always, quote, leave their hearts in Africa, unquote. A former congressman from our area recently passed away. We have more on that after the break. Welcome back to TVM News. The Scranton region is mourning the death of former longtime Congressman Joseph McDade. Joseph McDade recently passed away at the age of 85. McDade was the Scranton City Solicitor when he ran for his first of his 18 congressional terms. In his political career, McDade fought to save jobs at large regional employers like the Toby Hanna Army Depot and secured funding for the Steamtown National Historic Site and the Mall at Steamtown. McDade Park and the McDade Center for Literary and Performing Arts at the University of Scranton are some of the regional facilities that bear his name as a tribute to his work.
Lakeland High School is mourning the loss of senior student Leah Loomis. Last week, the 17-year-old fell from a boat on Newton Lake and never resurfaced. Dive teams recovered her body after a 2-day search. An autopsy showed that Loomis drowned accidentally from head trauma.
An appeal hearing for 27-year-old convicted murderer Jason Dominic is postponed. Inmates at Lackawanna County Prison attacked Dominic early last week, leaving him medically incapable of attending the hearing. District Attorney Shane Scanlon said court detectives are investigating the incident. Dominic is serving 40 to 80 years for the murder of Frank Bonacci in 2013. Dominic fatally shot Bonacci and was convicted of third-degree murder and conspiracy in 2014. A new hearing date has not been set.
A young Lackawanna County father is facing serious charges for allegedly breaking his infant daughter's arm. Kylie Milchek was home alone with his 6-week-old baby when her arm was broken on Monday. The 18-year-old Milchek subsequently admitted he had been drinking when the incident took place and that he may have pulled on her arm too hard while changing her. The baby did not see a doctor for 24 hours. Milchek is being charged with aggravated assault and endangering the welfare of a child. He is being held in Lackawanna County Prison as Archbald police continue investigating.
It's fall, but summer weather hangs on as temperatures recently soared into the high 80s. The Scranton School District dismissed students early 2 days in a row because of the heat. Many buildings in the school district do not have air conditioning, so classroom temperatures can be as high as 95 degrees on hot days. Students in the Tunkhannock Area School District also had early dismissals both days, while teachers at Carbondale Area Elementary beat the heat by holding classes in air-conditioned areas like the gym and the auditorium.
Scranton homeowner Joshua Thomas is in Lackawanna County Prison on charges of arson. Thomas allegedly burned down his house last month to collect insurance. He also faces reckless endangerment charges.
When we come back, we have more information on the shootings in Las Vegas, but first, here's your 7-day forecast. Thank you for tuning in to TVM-News. Las Vegas is still reeling from the deadliest shooting in United States history. CNN's Jessica Schneider has more.
64-year-old Stephen Paddock had been in Las Vegas for 4 days before opening fire from his 32nd floor hotel room window Sunday night. He killed more than 50 people with rifles that were stockpiled in his Mandalay Bay hotel room. Law enforcement sources say Paddock had more than 10 weapons and that some rifles may have been altered to function as an automatic weapon. The weapons found so far include a .223 caliber and a .308 caliber rifle. One gun shop owner in Utah says he's sure he sold Paddock a shotgun earlier this year.
I recognized him immediately, his name of what it was. He's been in my store. He's frequented here a couple different times. We sold him a shotgun, and so I was starting to get nervous going, did that get used in this rampage?
Investigators believe the firearms were purchased legally.
This is an individual who was described as a lone wolf. I don't know how it could have been prevented if we didn't have any prior knowledge to this individual. It wasn't evident that he had weapons in his room. We have determined that there has been employees going to and fro from his room, and nothing nefarious was noticed.
Paddock lived 81 miles from Las Vegas in a quiet 55 and older retirement community in Mesquite, Nevada. His brother says he moved there several years ago from Florida. FBI agents interviewed Eric Paddock hours after the massacre, but Paddock says he never knew his brother owned anything more than a few handguns. Officials say Paddock was a sportsman and purchased 2 sport fishing licenses in Alaska in 2009 and 2010.
He did not own machine guns that I knew of in any way, shape, or form. He didn't own them when I moved him from Melbourne to Mesquite, okay? This is something just incredibly wrong happened to my brother.
Stephen Paddock lived in his Mesquite home with a girlfriend, a woman identified as Mary Lou Danley. Police say they've located her in the Philippines, and law enforcement officials tell CNN as of now they don't believe she was involved in the shooting. Paddock visited Vegas often, according to his family, regularly playing $100 a hand poker. And while Paddock didn't have a criminal history, according to officials, his now deceased father had a colorful criminal past. Benjamin Hoskins Paddock spent 8 years on the FBI's most wanted list for bank robbery. The wanted poster describes the elder Paddock as psychopathic with suicidal tendencies, who is considered armed and very dangerous. His son, Stephen Paddock, though, is described by family as a well-off accountant who had a pilot's license and 2 single-engined aircraft registered with the FAA. But Paddock was not up to date on his medical certification, meaning he couldn't legally fly a plane. Eric Paddock is still baffled at the revelations his brother unleashed a barrage of bullets that ended in the deaths of dozens.
I mean, he's never even drawn his gun. I mean, it makes no sense. He's never hit anybody.
Puerto Rico is still suffering from the effects of Hurricane Maria, with the death toll at 30, almost doubling the previous count. President Trump visited Puerto Rico on Tuesday to assess the damage. While Trump pointed out that the death toll is much lower than Hurricane Katrina in 2005, 95% of people on the island are still without power, and only 45% of people have access to drinking water. More than 10,000 aid workers and government officials are in Puerto Rico to assist the recovery effort.
Women in Saudi Arabia will soon be driving. The Saudi Foreign Ministry announced the landmark step toward gender equality, saying Saudi women will be able to drive beginning in June of next year. Rules of the Wahhabi form of Islam still place other restrictions on women, such as needing the permission of male guardians to work or travel. But women will not need permission from male guardians to receive driving lessons. Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman said allowing women to drive will boost the number of women in the workforce.
President Trump will travel to Asia next month. It will be the longest overseas journey of his presidency, with stops in Japan, South Korea, China, the Philippines, and Vietnam. The president is seeking to strengthen alliances against the growing nuclear threat from North Korea. The trip follows a series of name-calling between Kim Jong-un and President Trump.
The Trump administration wants tax reform. President Trump announced the framework for his plan last week, calling it a, quote, once-in-a-generation opportunity, unquote. The plan calls for reducing personal income tax brackets and corporate tax rates, eliminating the estate tax, and increasing deductions for married and single tax filers. Trump said the plan will benefit the middle class and American manufacturers, but not wealthier taxpayers like himself. The administration hopes to gather Democratic support for the plan, with the goal of getting it passed by Congress at the end of this year.
Mysterious attacks that have sickened diplomats and aides have prompted the U.S. to withdraw more than half of its embassy bank staff from Cuba. The first attack was reported in late 2016, and since then 21 staffers have reported health problems such as brain trauma, deafness, dizziness, and nausea. Cuba denies any involvement in what appear to be sonic attacks, and the U.S. has not made any accusations. The two countries will continue to investigate as non-essential Havana embassy staff have been ordered to leave. Only emergency personnel will remain.
It is the fastest exodus from a single country since the Rwandan genocide in 1994. Around 500,000 Rohingya Muslims are fleeing Myanmar, seeking refuge in Bangladesh from what the UN called ethnic cleansing. Rohingya militants attacked the border post and killed 12 security guards, which prompted the Myanmar military to retaliate. This recent wave of violence led to the UN Security Council to declare it the world's fastest developing refugee emergency. The government of Myanmar denied the allegation of ethnic cleansing and said security forces are fighting terrorism. The UN Secretary General proposed that Myanmar put a stop to their military operations and ensure that refugees can return home safely.
Once again, private emails are causing a buzz in politics. Politico reports that senior White House advisor and presidential son-in-law Jared Kushner has used a private email account to discuss White House matters with other government officials and advisors outside the White House. Kushner's wife, Ivanka Trump, also has an email account on the same domain, which they set up late last year. Politico says there are no signs that Kushner uses the personal account more than his official White House account, or that he or his wife have used their private accounts to discuss sensitive or classified government information. Representatives of Kushner declined to comment on the details of the server or its security measures. The Presidential Records Act requires archiving of all documents related to the White House, but Kushner's lawyer maintains that he forwarded all emails from his personal account to his White House account.
Up next, we'll check in with John Ferraro for the latest in sports. Stay tuned.
Welcome back to TVM-News. Let's go to John Ferraro for the latest happening in sports.
Marywood-University shut out the men's soccer team last Saturday. The Mighty Mac's Alex Knoll scored the lone goal for either side. Knoll headed in a serve from teammate Connor Lindsay to put Immaculata ahead 1-0. The Pacers attempted to rally minutes later as junior forward Cole Belcher had one shot saved and another shot blocked in the 16th minute. Freshman forward Zach Lloyd lofted a shot high in the 18th minute, and the Pacers could not find an equalizer the rest of the game. In a 2016 CSAC playoff rematch, the Pacers field hockey team could not move the ball against the Cabrini Cavaliers' stout defense. Cabrini outshot Marywood 18-3, with 4 of those shots going for scores. Cabrini scored 3 goals in less than 4 minutes early in the first period to put the game out of reach. The win improves Cabrini's record to 4-5 overall, with the 2-0 conference record. Marywood falls to 0-1 in the conference. Missed opportunities continue to plague the Pacers in an important CSAC matchup against Cabrini University. I was there to cover it. playing host to Cabrini University, the women's soccer team looked to stretch its Colonial States Athletic Conference winning streak to 5 games. Junior forward Megan Swickicki found the back of the net off an assist from junior midfielder Ali Barlow to put the Pacers ahead 1-0 halfway through the first period. Cabrini tied the game 10 minutes into the second period on a goal from Caitlin Glinger. With just minutes remaining in the game, Cabrini sealed the deal as Cavalier player Taylor Traley hit the crossbar, allowing teammate Isia Cintron to put the game away. Marywood outshot Cabrini 22-15 for the game, but failed to convert on several opportunities. The win propels Cabrini to 3-0-2 in the CSAC and drops the Pacers to 4-1. Marywood is currently tied with Centenary for first place in the conference. For TVM-News, I'm John Ferraro. Women's soccer remains tied for first place in the CSAC after Wednesday night's 8-0 shutout of Rosemont College. 8 different Pacers scored for the team as junior forward Julie Youngman got things started with a goal in the 4th minute. Sophomore midfielder Renee Moken took over from there. Moken scored on a breakaway at the 12:55 mark, then stole the ensuing kickoff and assisted junior forward Megan Swickicki's goal 5 seconds later. Team website MarywoodPacers.com says those were the 2 fastest back-to-back goals in program history. The Pacers then piled on 5 more goals while shutting down the Ravens' offense. The win improves Marywood's CSAC record to 5-1 while dropping the Ravens to 1-4 in the conference. Marywood travels to Immaculata tomorrow afternoon. Fans are responding to NFL players protesting the national anthem. One Kentucky bar in particular took action. CNN's Jake Ryle has the story.
Owners of Top 10 Sports Bar in Wilder say there's a time to stand in honor.
My belief personally is that during our national anthem, it's not a time to grandstand for politics. The time to do that is on your own.
Today, National Football League jerseys were set on fire and thrown into a shredder.
We're the ones paying for these games. We're the ones paying to watch these advertising during these games, and it's not okay with us.
Some fans keeping their jerseys, but voicing their opinion.
Yeah, it's pretty embarrassing. Yeah, I think a lot of Bengals fans tend to bandwagon pretty quick.
Closer to the stadium, Billy Watson is co-owner of Kitty's Sports Bar in downtown.
It's a little bit over the top to me, but you know, they're voicing their opinion, I guess.
His dad spent the last 8 months of World War II in a German prisoner of war camp.
The veterans that made this country great, if it weren't for them, we might not be playing football on Sunday. So if you have a forum or something you stand for, don't do it on the NFL time. Do it on your own time.
With some NFL fans boycotting, we're asking questions to find out if the issue might impact business.
Honestly, the Bengals winning and playing better, I feel like is better for our business. Like if they would have lost today, I think that would have had a bigger impact on our business than this.
Even with ordinary fans and the President of the United States pushing back, national anthem protests in the NFL are continuing. Some teams toned down their protests while other teams and players kept it up. The San Francisco 49ers seem to be split down the middle, with some players standing and others kneeling. Individual athletes throughout the league continued their protests, like Buffalo's LaShawn McCoy, the Titans' Rashard Matthews, and the Raiders' Marshawn Lynch. No further reaction from President Trump to the ongoing controversy. That's all for sports this week. Back to the desk.
That's it for this week's edition of TVM News. From everyone here at TV Marywood, thanks for tuning in. I'm Brooke Williams.
And I'm Hannah Weaver. We'll see you next week.